I'm Scott from WarmlyYours, and today we're going to talk about installing a towel warmer. The towel warmer we have here is the Metropolitan model, but what we're looking at today can be used for just about any of our towel warmers, and we'll be showing you how to take it out of the box and attach it to the wall. What's been done already is we have put in a couple of electrical boxes here. The top box is where the timer or control is going to go, and then this box right here is where the towel warmer is going to attach. So what you have is you have power from a GFI protected circuit breaker coming to this box right here where the controller is going to be, and then the controller is going to be sending power down to this box for the towel warmer. So let's go ahead and unbox it and take a look at it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take the unit out of the box, and when you do that you'll see that the hardware kit comes out. It's in a separate box, and we remove it from the packaging. Always make sure you look inside the packaging because that's where your instructions are going to be, so we'll get those out too. Go through the parts kit to make sure that it has the right amount of pieces in it compared to the instruction sheet. So now we'll go ahead and take this out of the bag and get started. Now we have the unit out of the box, and I have actually the bottom facing up because I want to show you these things. There's a couple stickers on here. One of them is pointing to the power switch. Every towel warmer has a power switch. Always make sure that it's turned on if you're going to be using a controller to turn it on or off. Because if it's turned off and your controller is sending power on and off to the unit, it's never going to warm up. So there's a power switch that you have to turn on. There's a sticker that shows you where it is. And also, this sticker says to remove cap. These caps are only for shipping. Do not leave them on. They're not decoration. They're just to cover the edges while the unit is being shipped. Take them out and discard them. So now we're looking at the bottom of the unit. It's facing up, and here's our power switch. We've taken the plastic caps off. I did want you to see where the power comes out. This is going to have to actually get wired to that box. Now, a lot of people ask if you can take the towel warmer and mount it this way, and you can. If you don't have a spot on the lower right to put it, but your box is better over on the left side, you can go ahead and install it like this. But it's much more visible. You are going to see the installation box much more often than you would if the unit were like this. We've opened up our bag here, and inside the bag is our warranty cards. We need to make sure that we fill that out or we do it online. So we're going to be going through our parts box here to make sure that it matches the quantities that are shown on the list. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the legs that attach this unit to the wall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this box as a template. So I'm going to put all the hardware on, and then I'm going to turn the unit upside down and then mark the location of where the legs match on this piece of cardboard. I'm then going to put the cardboard up on the wall to make the marks for the spots that I'm going to drill into to mount this to the wall. You can also do the installation as it shows on the installation sheet by just doing measurements if you want to. So you can either follow the instructions that way, or you can make a template using the box. Okay, we have the legs on, and they're on loosely, just enough to kind of hold them in place, make them square. They are adjustable, so you may have to loosen it up, move it around, and tighten it back down to make sure that they're all square. And now what we're going to do is, you can see this part is threaded, and it threads onto the frame down here. So I'm going to stick these wires inside here, and I am going to thread this onto the towel warmer. Now, if you can notice, I put the plastic caps back on because I like to do it to make sure when I'm putting it in that if I do hit it on the ground or drag it across the ground, it's still protected. So I am going to take these off once we're done with our installation. What we do now is, now that we have the unit turned over, we can mark the location of the legs on the box, and that way we can make our measurements. And I'm going to do it around the power spot here. Now you want to take note of these little set screws and set screw holes. You want to make sure that these are not visible when you're using the unit. Now you can see this one's facing in, but when I go to install it, I'm probably going to face this downward. Now if this is high up on the wall, you might want to put it on the top side. That way you're not going to see it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a tape measure and I'm measuring the center of that hole because that's where my drill is going to go into the wall. I'm going to repeat that for all 4 spots. Okay, we've marked our locations of where the legs are going to be standing, and what we need to do now is I've drawn a line between those spots, and we just need to make sure that that is nice and level, which it is. And the next point is, now that it's level, we're going to make our marks where we're going to drill and put our wall anchors in. We're going to remove our template. We will see the marks on the wall that we made for where our wall anchors are going to go. Now, if you look at the instructions will tell you that the idea is to lay this left side out so it runs into a stud if you can. Well, sometimes you just can't do that, and that's why we send along 4 anchors so you can go into the drywall in 4 places if you have to. But if you can, it's a good idea to line up the left side with a stud so you're drilling right into the stud. But here we can't, so we're just going to go ahead and use these, get them put into the wall, and then we'll mount the towel warmer to that. We have our 4 mounting spots mounted into the wall, and we've got the metal little nubs on there that we're going to screw the set screws into through the mounting brackets here on the towel warmer. But what we need to look at now are the wiring requirements of this. Our electrician supplied us 4 wires. We're only going to need 3. We're going to use, we've got black, white, and green for ground. So we're going to use black, white, and green for ground here, and we'll just not even attach this red one. We've got a spare red here, and we've got a spare red here. So what happens is, we're going to put the timer in here. So power's coming to the timer, then the timer turns the unit on or off through the wiring that goes from this box to this box. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make our connections here through our tube and put our faceplate back on, and then put the unit up on the wall. Right, the first step is to look at this tube. This tube, you can see that there is a threaded hole and then there is a non-threaded hole. The threaded hole is going to go onto the towel warmer. So I need to get these wires into this tube and get this tube screwed on to the towel warmer. So now I've got that connected, and it's time to start worrying about the faceplate. Remember, we talked about the faceplate. We're going to remove this blue cover because it's a pretty stainless steel cover underneath there. So what we are going to do is take a look on the back of this, and you'll see that there is a ground wire. This ground wire is going to need to be put together with all of these wires and put into and behind the faceplate. All right, I've got the faceplate now. I'm going to take this, and best thing is to get a little water on the inside of that rubber grommet. It's going to make it much easier to get it over the metal stud sticking out of the towel warmer. Okay, we've lined up all of our grounds together, and we're going to put them together with a wire nut. All right, we're going to the black to black. We've already gone yellow and green to green, which is ground. Now we're attaching black to black, and next step is to attach the white to white. The next step now is to get these little small set screws into these legs, because that's what's going to hold these legs onto these metal studs. The idea is to just barely start them so the threads just catch, and that's it. Okay, we're just going to let it sit there, and then we're going to work on our alignment here, where the tube enters the box. Okay, if we take a look at the legs, the mounting legs, we've put the set screws there so they're on the inside, facing the inside on each one. You or your customer may want these facing downward or upward on the top ones. So that's just something you want to think about ahead of time. Just for uniformity, we today have put them on the inside, but they can go any direction you want them to. So the next thing we're going to do is we've got all of our wiring done. We've got the unit put on the wall loosely, still loose, so we can move it around if we have to. And now we're going to guide the faceplate onto the box, making sure that our green and yellow wire doesn't get caught behind. And we're just going to push that on, like so. Then we're going to remove this cover at this point so we can put the set screws on. So when you take this off, do so fairly carefully, and then you'll probably have to take a screwdriver and get a little bit of residue off the screw hole. And don't be afraid to rip this, because you're going to need to do that to get it around the stud. And this one looks pretty good. We just have a little cleanup to do here, and then we'll be ready to put the screws in. Here we can see the back of the timer, and you can see there's 4 wires sticking out of the back. We're not going to connect the yellow one. It's not used in this application. But if you look in the back, the load is called out, and that's blue. The neutral is called out, that's white. The line is called out, and that's black. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach the black wire to the wire coming from the circuit breaker, the line. The load is going to be going to the black wire running down to the towel warmer, and the white one is going to attach to the other 2 neutrals that are in the box. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to tie the grounds together. That's going to give us a continuous ground from the circuit breaker box into here and then down to the towel warmer. We're going to get that out of the way. Now we have the neutral and the line coming from the circuit breaker. Okay, here we can see we've made our connection from the line coming from the circuit breaker to the line called out on the timer. Here we can see that we have the neutral coming from the circuit breaker attached to the neutral coming from the towel warmer, along with the neutral of the timer. The next thing is the blue wire, which is the load. The load is connected to the line of the towel warmer. At 120 volt application, this unit is only switching the line. The neutral isn't switched, it's a 1-pole switch, and the yellow is not being used for this application. So we're ready to go ahead and install the timer. Good thing about this timer is it's got a opening that's common for any decor switch plate will fit onto this. So you can use glass plates, you can use stainless steel, you can use whatever you feel like, because it's a universal opening. So that's good to know. You can make it fit your decor exactly the way you want it to look. All right, we're almost ready to commission this unit, but the first thing you have to do is you have to remove these plastic caps, and you'll see a sticker right here that says to remove cap. And once you remove the cap, then you can go ahead and you can remove that sticker. It's easy to take off. While you're working down here, you'll also want to take and keep an eye on this, because remember, we talked about it earlier. You want to make sure that the power switch is in the on position, because if this unit is going on and off to control the towel warmer, if the main switch for the towel warmer is in the off position, it's not going to heat at all. So we're going to go ahead and make sure this is set to on, and we're going to go ahead and take this sticker off too. All right, we're going to remove our last couple caps, and now the towel warmer is ready to use. That's all there is to installing a towel warmer. If you have any more questions, feel free to give us a call at 800-875-5285 or check us out 24/7 at www.warmlyyours.com. Thanks for watching.